The second technique is called the minute drill. It can be used from age 3 and up, again, depending on the maturity of your child. There are 3 ways to use it. The first way is anytime you want your child to move his or her body, get out of the bathtub, get in the bathtub, come in from outside, go do your homework, start eating. Anytime you want your child to do anything that requires moving their body, instead of hammering them all the time, pick up your toys. I told you to pick up your toys. Did you hear me say pick up your toys? Pick up your toys! How many times do I have to tell you to pick up your toys? And the answer to that is as many as you're willing to, because I have more power than you do. Instead of all this chaos and all this yelling, what we're going to do is a system that will boggle your mind. This is how it works. What we found out was when we say to today's child, do it now, they put their feet in quick-drying cement and get ready for the charge. They're amazingly powerful. The second thing is, today's child does not care if you take whole things away. You just lost your TV time. You just lost your whatever, the whole thing. They don't care. It's like, whatever, I can replace it with some other whole thing. So, what we want the child to do is to respect your power, and this is how it works. Let's say, for instance, you want a child to come in from outside. So I say, okay, John, it's time for you to come in. And John turns his back on me and does the deaf ear thing. Instead of entertaining the neighbors by screaming and yelling and threatening John, I'm simply going to say in a very calm voice, you know what, John? You're on the minute drill. You have 1 free minute to be standing right next to me. And you want to be very clear about what you want the child to do. Exactly. Don't come here. I want you to be standing next to me. You have 1 free minute. Then for each minute after the free minute, it's going to cost you 15 minutes off your TV, play, or bedtime. Right? So let's say John messes with me. He comes, but he comes forward 2 steps and back 3 steps, and he's wandering around in between. He's taking his time, but he doesn't plan his time well, even with me saying, okay, 15 seconds, and he's not here. He's not next to me. So up goes 1 finger. 1 finger means you just lost 15 minutes off your life. If John argues with me, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know, I'm sorry, I meant to come, I was almost there, stuff like that. Once you put the 1 finger up, do not take it down, because you teach children to manipulate if you do that. So I've got the 1 finger up, John. I say, now John, you have another minute to be where I said, which is right next to me. So he complies and he comes. Now, if I'm the lady with 5 kids, how am I going to remember this 1 little minute, 15-minute thing with John? Because of the lady with 5 kids, we got jars and put the kids' names on them. She kept hers in the kitchen. She would now walk in and drop a penny into a jar, in this case with John's name on it. Now I don't have to even think about it. Somewhere in the day, something fun's going to happen. TV program, going outside to play, and of course the last is bedtime. But something fun John's going to do. John, look, Diego's on. Yeah, just started. Cool. Oh, John, there's a penny in the jar. Here's the deal. You have to go out of the room. You don't have to be in the penalty box. You just can't be in the room with the television. All right? When you're out of the room, your time starts. When the timer goes ding, you can come back and watch the rest of Diego. If you want to argue with me, fuss, melt down, go for it. Do you want to miss all of Diego or a little piece of Diego? Choose. So John complies and he goes out of the room. I turn the timer, put it down. You don't have to tell them the timer goes ding. They could hear it if they were in Alaska. They come back in and watch the rest of the show. You don't track them down and say, well, I hope you learned your lesson. You don't hassle them. They didn't learn their lesson. He's going to get another penny in the jar, and he's going to get the consequence taken off of something that he likes to do. Here's the principle. Instead of saying, do it now, we give the child a free minute to change their mind, to do what I ask them to do. For each minute after the free minute, it costs the child 15 minutes off his or her life. It's so simple. You're going to think maybe it won't work. Trust me. The 3 words I hear the most about the minute drill are, oh my God. Because children get it before the adults do in terms of concept. The second way to use the minute drill is for meltdowns. Meltdown is a power play. It's kind of like, you can't stop me, and they'll use it whenever it's inconvenient, like you really got to be somewhere on time, or you're in the market and 10,000 people are watching you. Meltdown is not a behavior that you want your child to continue to use. You don't want to give them a whole free minute when they're melting down, because they can get too wound up. So basically, you put your hand up like this. It means stop. Okay? It's okay to feel angry. It's not okay to melt down. I'm going to count backwards from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When my hand is closed, up goes this. You know what this means. This means 15 minutes off your life. Then I'm going to look at my watch. For each minute you continue to melt down, I will put up another finger. I can't stop you from melting down. And I can make it very expensive to do so. I think it's important that you have an anger management toy or something that a child does to diffuse anger, particularly if the child is very explosive. One of my children, my son Scott, was very would explode. So what I needed to teach him was how to diffuse his anger. We'll have a section on anger in this series, but I just want to hit on it right now. The best way to diffuse anger is to run. Right? So to have a child run and touch the fence, or run and touch something and run and touch the 2 fences in your backyard can teach a child who's combustible to calm down and not go like that. And melting down is not acceptable. The third way to use the minute drill is for children who are 10 years old and up. If you want a child, it was originally designed for teenagers, and you'll see why in a minute. If you want a child to do something in a reasonable amount of time, pick up their room. Usually what they'll do is they'll do 1 or 2 things or nothing, or they'll stall it out, and then you're hammering on them. I told you to pick up your room, that stuff, all right? And so instead of that, you say, okay, we're going to use the minute drill. This is what I want you to do. Be specific. I want you to pick up all the dirty clothes. I want you to hang up any clothes that aren't dirty, any jackets, hang them up, put them away. I want you to put anything that is growing in glasses into the dishwasher, any of the dishes in the dishwasher. And I want you to pick up any papers that are loose or are not things you're going to keep, or at least put them away. 4 things. You have 40 minutes to do this. I'll put 40 minutes on the clock. At the end of 40 minutes, I will come and see what you've done. If you've done the job, yeah. If not, I will coach you. Doesn't that sound cool? I'll say, do this, do that, do this to complete the job. Oh, there's one problem. I'm a very expensive coach. For each minute I need to coach you in a job you could have done by yourself, it will cost you 30 minutes off your life. So for each minute you need to coach a 10-year-old or a teenager to get something done, you drop 2 pennies in the jar, which then are going to be time 15 minutes off of things they like to do. You'll be so surprised on how responsible that teenager or youngster suddenly chooses to be. It's the third way to use the minute drill. Children respect the minute drill so much that if you do it, and follow through on the first day, on the second day, you say, you're on the minute drill, and everybody in the house is running. You might be targeted one child and they're all running. In fact, we had one home where a 2-year-old who isn't put on the minute drill was running. And we said, why are you running? I'm on the minute drill. And we said, what's the minute drill? And he said, I don't know, but you get in big trouble. And so they learn to respect that when you ask to do something, it needs to be done at a very early age. Some examples of the minute drill. I got a phone call from a lady, and she said that her 12-year-old son, Brent, was screaming and ranting and melting down, and she couldn't stop him. So I said, what does he like to do? And she said, well, he has golf lessons every night this week. It was in the summer. I said, cool. So I told her what to do, and I said, just take the phone and leave it open in your hand. She walked in, and she said, Brent, you're on the minute drill. You have exactly 1 free minute to stop ranting. For each minute after the free minute, it will cost you 15 minutes off your golf lesson tonight. If you rant and rave long enough to miss your whole golf lesson, then you will be paying for it. You need to stop ranting and raving because it's going to get expensive. It starts now. He said, you can't do that. She said, I am doing it, and you're going to run out of time. He said, that's silly. Or stupid. I think he said, that's stupid. But then he didn't say another word. He stopped. If he were to start up again, she would do it again. For 1 free minute, for every minute after the free minute, it costs you time off of something he likes to do. That's the key. I had some friends down in my mother's house, and she has a swimming pool. And I told them it was time to get out of the swimming pool. And Daniel was, you know how they go up the stairs and then they fall back in? And they go up the stairs and then they fall back in. Well, Daniel was doing the fall back in thing, except he didn't time it too well because he fell back in after the 1 minute went by. So I raised a finger. No, no, no. He came out of the water just like a dolphin. No, 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 no. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I said, next time you come to the pool, you owe me 15 minutes. And a week later or something, the kids came back to swim at the pool. I had totally forgotten. He got a chair and he sat down and he said, have you got me on the clock? And I thought, got me on the clock? Yeah, I've got you on the clock. Yeah, I got you. 15 minutes later, I said, you're in the pool. It's a simple concept. Greg was on the computer, and Greg had Asperger's syndrome. And any of the kids who are autistic, they have a really hard time stopping something, anything, particularly anything electronic, turning off a TV, turning off a computer. And I said to Greg, okay, you have 5 minutes. Okay, you have 1 minute. I say, okay, Greg, time to turn it off. No, I'm right in the middle of something. No. I said, you're on the minute drill. 1 minute. He didn't even wait a minute, about 15 seconds, punched off the computer. Darn! I don't care if he's happy. I just want him to turn off the computer. And he did it because it would cost too much because, you see, if he went past the minute, then the next time he's on the computer, I take 15 minutes off the computer time. You take 15 minutes off of something they like to do. Butts the snot out of them, but it doesn't hurt them. And that's the key. You ask a teenager to set the table, and you say you have 15 minutes to do it. At the end of 15 minutes, I'll come and coach you and get you to finish the job and do it the way it should be done. However, I remind you, I'm an expensive coach. It'll cost you 30 minutes off your life for every minute I need to coach you. It will be amazing. What a great job that kid will do setting the table. If a child refuses to go to the penalty box, remember when we had Gail was going to the penalty box, and she said, no, I'm not going. I said, if you go by yourself, it's 4 minutes. If I need to force you, and I will, then it's 8 minutes. What if she still says, I'm not going? You want her to move her body. Gail, you are now sitting there for 8 minutes, and you're on the minute drill. You have exactly 1 minute to be sitting in that penalty box. It's going to get expensive to keep this going. Choose. These techniques, if you use them and you're consistent, take 2 or 3 days to bring a super nanny type home into a place where children respect power. The 3 words I hear the most, once again, are, oh my God. They don't do themselves, though. You've got to do them. You've got to be consistent. You've got to follow through. Would you be willing to invest 3 days, 3-day investment, to ensure that your family have peace, love, joy, and so much fun in your home? Because all the disharmony, discord, all the unkindness is gone. If you want to learn more about these techniques, then I recommend you go to parentingsos.com and order my 2 books. This one is Don't Feed the Dragon, and this one is Recipes from Parenting. Don't Feed the Dragon is my book about the discipline system, the penalty box, the minute drill, and there's a lot more information in it. Recipes from Parenting has to do with the use of boredom in order to get children to mind. This I call my wisdom book. Between the 2 books, you have the perfect package to help yourself to do the job that you want to do, to raise reliable, respectful, responsible, resilient, loving children who make the world a better place. It's a tough job. You can do it.